Hi everyone, thank you very much for joining us today for this commercial sector breakout session for procurement leaders. My name's Tom Poole and I've been in the Amazon Business Professional Services team for 3 years, and in that role I help our largest and most complex customers implement Amazon Business as a purchasing solution across their organisation. So whether you're an Amazon Business customer or not, the goal of today's session is to demonstrate how the digital purchasing technology can simplify buying in your own organisations. And by simplifying the buying processes in your organisation, you can better balance the short-term needs with the longer-term priorities in driving and maintaining cost reduction. So over the last year or so throughout the pandemic, we've seen an explosion in the movement of procurement processes into the digital environment and online space. And in 2021, Amazon Business has run a survey in which 50% of the respondents have told us that they've moved all of their procurement policies and processes online into the digital space. And 85% of respondents had said that they'd at least pushed some of their procurement process online into that online space. But this trend is something that we really see is here to stay, with over 96% of respondents saying that even after the pandemic's over and in that post-pandemic world, in the new normal, they're going to continue moving and migrating these purchasing processes in the digital environment. So with that in mind, I'm sure that purchasing within your own organisation looks very different to how it did just a couple of short years ago. And we're sure that teams of procurement professionals have found very innovative ways of meeting the demands of the wider organisation. And one of the top priorities that enterprise procurement leaders in 2021 have been telling us is that they want to simplify the procurement processes for the stakeholders outside of procurement. To put it plainly, enterprises seek a purchasing solution that is easy to use for their purchasers. Now, today I really want to talk through some of the actions that you can take in the Amazon Business account to simplify your procurement processes and make them more efficient. And that's whether you care about procurement compliance, whether you care about how to manage supply continuity, or cost optimization. And I'm going to talk through each of those areas in a bit more detail in a second. Now, customers all over the world are using Amazon Business. Over 50% of the FTSE 100 use Amazon Business, as well as 25 of the DAX 30 in Germany. And the strongest and most agile of our customers are reshaping the digital technology that they use in procurement. My role on the professional services team is to help customers implement some of these technology solutions that help to move your businesses forward. So let's take a look at some of the challenges I mentioned, and you'll see how the digital solutions can change the game. So first of all, I want to talk through the challenge of compliance. And we understand that those spend policies are in place for a reason in your organisation, and you need your purchases to be compliant and integrated with your procurement processes. At Amazon Business, we have a number of solutions we can put in place that I recommend to our business customers to remove some of the redundancies in the buying process. So the first one of these is single sign-on. Single sign-on links your Active Directory within your identity system to the Amazon Business account. So those two benefits that it brings are this added security, and by that what I mean is that when people access the account, they're authenticated automatically via your Active Directory before they access the account. And the second benefit is the user experience. So with single sign-on activated, it means that people don't have to go through the login screens and enter the passwords that they usually associate with accessing a third-party procurement system. The second piece I want to talk about is guided buying. And guided buying is great for organizations with a decentralized structure with buyers in different places. Because what it does is it enables you to put in place a central policy for all of those buyers that access the same system across those different locations. The third thing I want to talk about is e-procurement systems. And e-procurement systems are really used by our enterprise customers, and it takes the approval processes and the policies that they've built in their own e-procurement system, and it overlays that on top of Amazon Business. It also allows those P2P processes that you've built in your own organizations to be integrated with Amazon Business. For example, you might have a process which dictates that without a PO, you can't make a purchase. We integrate with over 100 procurement systems across e-procurement integration and also single sign-on. And each step is really simple to configure in the account. So not only is it an easier user experience, but it ensures compliance with the policies and controls in the account. Secondly, I want to talk about the challenge of managing supply continuity. And by this, what we mean is consolidating the supply base into a single source while still giving the people who are using the account the familiarity of an Amazon-like experience, whilst exposing them to a wider selection of products and sellers. Amazon Business combines that familiarity, but with business-specific features overlaid on top. And what we've done at Amazon Business is we've taken all of the best practices that we've developed in the consumer space, and we've built that into a frictionless and customized user experience for businesses. The user experience and the navigation are very similar to the consumer side, and it provides that trust and convenience that the buyers want. It ensures that you've got the multiple stores without having to search, to negotiate, and to reconcile between lots of different suppliers. Next, one of our most popular features is the business lists functionality. So with business lists, you're able to customize lists of items that are frequently bought and share them across the organization to enable buyers to reorder items over and over, but potentially you might want to share that with different buyers across the organization. Something as simple as business lists or creating a business list and sharing that with other people in the organization really simplifies the buying process. It means there's less time that buyers spend trying to discover new items and spend more time serving your own customers. We also offer quantity discounts in the business account on bulk purchases. Whether you're buying something that's just a handful of items or a couple of hundred items, you can always ensure that your buyers can buy the amount you need for the best value. So basically, you have the tools that you need to get exactly what you want, when you want it, and thanks to the technology in Amazon Business, it's all done on one website. Next, let's revisit cost optimization. Lowering the total cost of purchasing is really key in organizations. So how can you use the technology in Amazon Business in your own procurement processes to lower that total cost of purchasing? First of all, quantity discounts we've just mentioned. But I want to also talk about business-only pricing. So business-only pricing allows third-party sellers and vendors the ability to apply a discount in the business account, which is not necessarily available in the consumer environment. And this, coupled with the discounts and the deals with business-only pricing on Amazon Day, it provides you a couple of different options to be able to get those promotional discounts and capture additional savings in the business account. And one more thing I'd like to mention in cost optimization is the visibility that you get with business analytics and spend visibility. So with business analytics, you really get a live data source of all of the spend in the account in one place. It really provides the cornerstone of being able to manage that spend and drive it down over the long term. So in business analytics, you're able to track the patterns of spending across the account. You're able to look at the different departments that are spending, as well as the individuals who are doing that spending. And all of that data is there at your fingertips with raw data that you're able to download and use offline as well. There's 4 reports that are available in business analytics: the reconciliation report, the orders report, shipments report, and the refunds report. And in business analytics, you're able to filter based on the time period. You're able to filter based on other attributes such as the group or department, and you're able to save those reports in customized templates and export them into Excel through a CSV format. Now, for our Business Prime customers, we also have spend visibility. Now, spend visibility gives you the visualizations and dashboard access overlaid across that raw data that we just talked about in Amazon Business Analytics. And this enables you to drill down with an interactive tool which is built through AWS QuickSight to really interrogate what's going on and how those spending patterns can be tracked in a visual way. It's a really great tool, and there are endless customizations that you can make on spend visibility, which allow you to really interrogate that spend. Now, I want to talk you through some of the buying policies that are available on the account, and it's a really powerful tool in the toolbox for procurement professionals. So with buying policies in place, you're able to simplify the purchasing experience and enable your purchasers to buy faster. I'm going to give a bit of a walkthrough in a minute on some of the policies that you're able to put in place on the account. And just to note that some of the policies are only available through Business Prime, so keep that in mind as we go through. The buyers that actually use guided buying really like the policies because it removes all of the ambiguity from the buying process. Rather than thinking, what am I allowed to buy, they understand exactly what they can and can't purchase. Administrators like guided buying because it means that those procurement rules that are in place are easy to follow, and the guided buying policies provide the visual signposts for the buyers that boosts the compliance and means that there's less time for the administrators on the account to answer questions on what can and can't be purchased. So here's a quick overview of the types of policies that you can put in place on the account. There's three main branches. There's the seller-specific policies, order policies, and product policies. Let's go through each of these in detail. So order policies enable you to control orders with approval workflows. Approval workflows are fully customizable that enable you to place the right approver in each policy. You're able to assign multiple approvers or even enable a batch approval process so that buyers get what they need when they need it. You can even require approval processes for all orders on the account, or you can enable a threshold of spend per order, after which approvals are activated. Note that if you integrate with an e-procurement system, then your approval will happen in your e-procurement system and not in the Amazon Business System. So that's something to bear in mind. Now let's talk through the seller policies. So seller policies allow you to prefer specific sellers or enable you to set VAT policies, which enables you to always get a downloadable VAT invoice on every order. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. The product policies on the bottom of the screen here encompass a range of powerful tools which center around the UNSPSC code. Categories are structured with UNSPSC codes to allow you to easily restrict, block hierarchies of items, which, for example, you might already have a negotiated contract for IT hardware, in which case you might want to actually prevent people from placing orders for IT equipment. So these are really powerful and do the hard work of steering your buyers towards the approved products and away from the products that they are not able to buy. With these additional features, you can boost, flag, or prohibit products to the buyers, and these are really robust features that allow you to prefer certain brands as well. So now I'm going to show you how you can put in place those policies on the account. And it starts from the business settings page, which is the main administration page where you can do all of the administrative actions on the account. And then what we'll do is we'll scroll down to the buying policies page on the account. So we scroll down to buying policies and approvals. And then the first thing you'll see here are those three branches, the seller policies, the order policies, and the product policies in place. And what I'm going to show you first is we're going to put in place one policy from each of these three branches and just show you what that looks like. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to block items that come without a downloadable VAT invoice. So some third-party sellers on the account only provide invoices on request. So this policy, what it enables you to do is to block those sellers to enable you to always get a downloadable VAT invoice. So the fields on here are already pre-filled with some suggestions, and I quite like these, so I'm going to leave them as they are, and I'm going to hit save in the top right-hand corner, which is going to immediately put this policy in place on the account. Great. And we'll see now that this policy is immediately in place. I can see that it's appeared in the policies page, and I can edit this policy by clicking into it or by going to the actions bar on the right-hand side and clicking edit. So let's have a look at what's actually happened now I've put that policy in place. So let's pretend that I'm a teacher in a school and maybe I want to buy some stickers for the children. So if I search for some stickers, you'll see that the selection comes up with all the stickers that are available on the business account. And you can see there's a wide selection, but if I scroll down here, on the left-hand side, you'll see that there's a filter pane that says include blocked items. And if I tick that, then what you'll see is that the items which have been blocked because they don't come with a downloadable VAT invoice have actually been removed, but I can see them here now. So let's see what happens when I actually click onto one of these items. I should also say that on each of these blocked items, you actually see the organization block logo. So it's obvious which ones have been removed from those initial search results. So when we click onto the item detail page, we can see that across the top of the page, you've got a big red banner that says why the item has been blocked. And you can also see that the add to basket button has been grayed out. Well, actually been removed on this page. So nice and easy, nice and simple, and it really gives you signposts that tell you what's going on in the business account. So let's now go back to the buying policies, which I can actually get to via this quick link rather than going back through the business settings page. So if I go back to the buying policies page, I'm again back at this page with that policy that we've just set up. So now I'm going to add a new policy, and this time I'm going to put in place one of the order policies. So let's pretend this time that I'm actually working in a pharmaceutical organisation, and in that organisation there's lots of departments, and in each one of those departments you might have a cost centre and a budget owner. So maybe what I want to do is I want to put in place an approval workflow for each of those cost centres throughout that organisation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose to put in place a policy based on the business order information. And what that will do is it will give me options then in terms of how I want to customise and define those criteria on which I'm putting in place this approval policy. So first of all, we're going to enter a policy name. I'm going to, again, let's pretend I'm in the engineering department. So I'm going to type in the policy name, which is just engineering department. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the note that I want to add for the buyers here. So this is what the buyers are going to see when they come across this policy. Orders within this cost centre need a budget approval. So then if you keep scrolling down the page, you can see the criteria on which you're able to build these policies. And what I'm going to do is I've already preloaded cost centres into this page, and there's 101 here. So let's pretend that cost centre number 1 refers to the engineering department. So if I click cost centre 1, that then means that there's going to be this approval workflow, which is going to be activated when people choose cost centre number 1 in the checkout page on the account. And then I'm going to put in who is going to be the approver when that happens. So in this case, it's going to be the engineering team lead here. And then I'm done. I've configured and built this policy. I hit save, and then again, it'll appear and it will be immediately visible in the account. So again, I can edit this by going into the account and clicking on the policy or in the actions button. But I'm going to jump straight in. I'm going to build a third policy here. So in this time, we're going to look at product policies. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about restricting product categories. So this time, let's pretend that I work in an office, and maybe throughout the pandemic, the organisation has given us the ability to work from home. And in that working from home, maybe we're able to buy things to tool us up to be able to do that effectively. So in this case, maybe there's a preferred supplier list which people can go to buy those items. But if people want to buy things on Amazon, maybe you want to enable that. So what I want to do here is I'm going to put a restriction in place over the top of office furniture, which means that people can still buy that item, but really there's that preferred supplier list that I want them to look at first. So this is going to provide them that warning within the business account that ensures that they know what's going on and that they're able to see this policy when they're buying. So again, we've given this policy a name, and then here's a description or a message for the buyers that I prepared earlier. So office furniture should be purchased by contacting procurement. You may still purchase this item, but it will be routed to procurement for approval first. So that's great, that's clear, that's going to give the buyers the message that they need that's going to help them understand what's going on. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in place the category on which this policy applies. So I typed in furniture and furnishings, and I can see that this is based on the UNSPSC code hierarchy. So you can see that these policies are now all in place just by ticking that one box there, and you can see a few of the types of items that appear underneath this policy. So really simple and easy to choose the categories, and so far to give that buyer the description that they'll see when they land on the page. Then again, I'm going to choose the senior procurement manager as the person who's actually going to approve these orders when an item gets placed for order in this category. So I've now saved that, and now what we've got is all three policies here. And what we're going to do next is we're going to see what happens when we search for an item which refers to both the office furniture policy and the engineering department policy. So let's pretend I'm going to search for a chair because I want to tool myself up to work from home. And I can see some of the selection available here, and maybe I want one with lumbar support. So maybe this one on the right-hand side looks good. And I can see there that that policy is in place, and I can see the restriction. In the search results, you can also see that those items come up with organisation restricted identifications. So let's go back onto that page, and you'll see again, there's that message very clear for buyers. They can see exactly why this item is restricted, but crucially, they are still able to add this item to the basket and order this item should they need to. So let's do that and proceed to the checkout, and then we'll see what happens in checkout if we want to then buy within that cost center for that policy that we set up first. So just before we jump into the checkout, you'll see that whilst we're in the basket, there's also a warning note on this item that again repeats the warning that was on the item detail page. So again, at every step in this process, you can see the warnings so the buyer knows that this item is restricted, but they can buy it should they wish to, or should they need to. So we've chosen the group in which we're going to purchase, and then in the checkout page here, we choose that cost center. So because we've selected cost center 1, that's going to activate that order policy that we put in place earlier. And it means that that's going to go through both to the engineering department for the order policy and also to the procurement department for the office furniture policy. So this item is going to activate those two policies at the same time when this order is processed. Thank you again for taking the time to learn about the digital procurement tools that are available in the business account and how they can help you become more nimble with your business purchasing. Implementing some of these features into your procurement process can help you optimize the operations for the long term, and we invite you to start simplifying your procurement processes on the Amazon business account today. Thank you very much.